Advanced Studio Classroom is on the air. Join us today as our panelists,
Linda
and Linda
and Doris, have a good time talking to you about something very interesting, so stay tuned and find out what it is. So here we are in our Studio Classroom advanced class, and we're glad to have our editors from the Studio Classroom magazine here. Welcome back again.
That's very nice to be here.
Let's give everybody a big hand that's listening in. Yeah. Well, if you listened in yesterday, you learned about somebody who was very inspiring. But I think we talked about this lady, Dorothy Joy, quite a bit yesterday, didn't we?
We did. I think she's 91 now, but at the time that this was written, she was 90, and she was walking a half marathon.
And her name was Joy, and that's kind of a nice name to mean happy.
Yes,
Joy, right?
happiness. And she is quite inspiring.
Right.
So that was the inspiring senior. Now, the second day, our article is supposed to be about something that is a calming ritual. What is a ritual?
It's something that you do with steps to it, so you do it in a specific way.
Certain order.
Right.
Kind of a ceremony thing, right?
Or I'd say an established practice.
Mm-hmm. Some people do something like yoga exercises because it's kind of a calming way to calm down or relax, right?
Right.
So we'll
there are
talk
lots
about
of different.
that. There's a lot of calming rituals, right?
Right.
So we're going to talk about that today, and this is on page 11. And it's going to be a way to make our lifestyle better because we want to enjoy life and we want to have a calm life. Not too calm. Has to be a little exciting.
I think they need it calm after yesterday.
I think so. Yesterday was very exciting, yeah. So what are we going to talk about today then?
Actually, it's about tea.
About tea. So a cup of calm tea. That sounds interesting. Do you like to drink tea?
I do. I like tea a lot.
Green tea or black tea?
Both. I like drinking both of them.
Okay.
How about you, Doris?
Well, I do too. I like to drink tea when I'm eating Chinese food. Sometimes if I eat Western food, I like coffee. And Chinese food, I like tea. What about you?
If I'm having Chinese food, I like green tea or oolong tea or a Chinese kind of tea.
Xiangpian cha.
Yeah, I like that too. But otherwise, I usually like black tea.
But if I ever go to England or UK, I always drink tea. They always say, oh, have a cup of tea in the morning, at noon, in the afternoon. So drink tea if you go to England.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
It depends on where you are, right?
Yes.
Well, now our article then is on page 11, and we're going to find out today why we might want to drink more tea. Are you all ready?
I'm ready.
Yes.
Okay, so let's read the very first section.
A cup of calm, a cup of health. Tea offers many health benefits. The ritual is one of them. Tanya George's love of tea began with her mother, who said tea would brighten your eyes and make your nose shine. And though her belief in that logic may have changed since childhood, George's enthusiasm for tea continues to grow. She's not alone. As the second most consumed beverage in the world, the average intake per person is about 40 liters per year, everyone from physicians to family members praise tea for its apparent benefits. Such benefits include protection against cancer and heart disease, as well as decrease in memory loss and improved bone and joint health. But researchers caution that the actual benefits of drinking tea still remain uncertain.
So, Linda, what do you think of this?
Well, I thought it was kind of interesting that, first of all, the subtitle says that it's a cup of calm and a cup of health. So usually we think of calm people as being healthy. So they've kind of put these two.
I think of them as being kind of sleepy sometimes. I think of healthy people as being lively sometimes.
Well, but
Well, here maybe it's less stress or
Yes.
non-stress.
That's
has to do with your heart and
That's different.
calm.
Okay. That kind of calm. Okay.
see.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, and then it's going to be talking about the health benefits, and I thought it was kind of interesting that ritual is one of the health benefits. So, sometimes we need order in our lives in certain ways. Sometimes we, if we're too habitual in what we do, we think of people maybe as being a little boring. But sometimes you need some kind of habits in your life to bring order to your life, especially if it's quite hectic.
Well, I know, like in England and something, they have afternoon tea. It's kind of a ritual in a way.
Right.
I
I
mean-
think where I'm from in the States, they have afternoon coffee.
Okay.
So
That's kind of a ritual, too.
yeah, but I always think, when I'm going to have tea, it seems there's just a different feel about having a cup of tea than there is about having a cup of coffee, I think.
Well, usually you have to prepare it and you put it in a teapot and it sits there for a little while.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
You whereas coffee, you make it and then you just drink it,
Yeah.
So the ritual's
Well, you
not
do have
the
to
same.
pour it, too.
Pour it, that's true.
But with making tea, there's a little bit more involved, more steps. that are
Especially
involved.
if you use the tea leaves. If you use a tea bag, that's not much of a ritual.
Right.
Right. Just pour the water
Tea
over it.
leaves, right.
Yes. So it just has a different feel, even the thought of like having tea as to me, as opposed to having
Of course,
coffee.
I never did hear it's going to brighten your eyes or make your nose shine.
I thought that was kind of interesting. So we're talking about Tonya George here,
Yes.
and her mother must have loved tea because she's the
Yes.
one that kind of instilled this love of tea in her daughter. And
Did you drink tea when you were little? Oh, we didn't.
no, we drank coffee.
We drank milk.
Well, we drank milk too, but I think starting at 10 or 11, we drank coffee, started drinking some
Really?
coffee.
I didn't drink coffee till I came to China.
The land of tea.
Yes, that's right.
Well, when I was
because there were Scandinavian people there and they all drank coffee, see.
Right, and I was living in a Scandinavian area.
But where I grew up, everybody drank milk. Nobody drank
The kids did. All the kids did, yeah. We
Our whole
drank
family
milk
drank
and
milk.
juice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What did
we
you drink
drank
when you
milk,
were little?
But we drank mint tea when I was really small. Like, my
Really?
parents didn't
We were
give
too
us
small
black
to.
tea, but
My mother thought we shouldn't have tea when we were too small.
yeah, not too small. But yeah, mint doesn't have any, caffeine
yeah.
or.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess we didn't need caffeine. We were lively enough.
I'm
But,
sure.
But anyway, I never heard, that this. But people say things to kids. Well, this will make your hair nicer or something, and that kind of makes you more encouraged to do it, right?
Right. And those might not be, any proven
Facts.
benefits,
No.
but there are some, more scientific
That's true.
benefits to tea that we'll see in a little bit.
Well, actually, that's what she kind of says in that sentence,
Right.
right? Her
Yeah.
belief in her mother's logic has probably changed a little bit.
That's true. But she still has enthusiasm for tea, and it continues to grow, so she still loves it. Not just
Right.
because her mother said, but she kind of got a tea habit, I think.
Yeah,
Don't you
she
think so?
enjoys drinking
Seems
it
like it.
for herself.
And she's not alone. So, Linda, you've done some reading about the first most consumed beverage in the world.
Well,
Audience?
water.
It's not
Water.
coffee? You mean it's not coffee, it's water. Okay. But anyway,
And tea is the second most consumed beverage in the world.
consume just means it's something that you eat or drink, right?
Right.
When
that
you
take
consume
in.
it, you could eat it or drink it, right?
So we see the average intake. Okay, this is a good word for people. It means something that you take in per person is 40 liters a year. That's a lot of tea.
Now, who can ever figure that out? That's what I wonder when they put this down. When you drink how many cups of tea and then how many cups of tea make a liter? To me, that sounds like, so how much is that? Don't you feel like that when you read that?
Sometimes
40 liters.
Yes, this is definitely has to be quantitative research
Right.
to find out these figures.
How many liters you drink, right? Wow. But even doctors like it, though, and they praise tea because it has very noticeable, apparent, very easy to see benefits. So what are the benefits?
And some are protection against cancer and heart disease.
Well, that's
well
good. To
as-
get a protection against cancer would be great.
We have to be careful when we say this because we're not talking about huge percentages increase of protection here. And it also helps as well as decrease in memory loss and improve bone and joint health. So
but I've heard
need
that
to
about a
drink
lot
more
of
tea.
drinks too. They say that about coffee too, both of them. So I don't know. But it's one of the ones that does it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. I don't think you'll hear any health benefits regarding Coke, Coca-Cola.
No, we're not going to get one to Coke today. We can stick to coffee and tea. But the researchers, though, say that the benefits of drinking tea are uncertain. And every time I read an article about anything in health, they say how good it is. And at the end, they say, well, it's not certain. So I don't know what is certain. Do you? Because
No.
things change all the time.
Right.
Sometimes it's good for you and sometimes it's not. But still, there are definitely benefits, aren't there?
There seem to be. I mean, it says that the actual benefits still remain uncertain. Sometimes, when you engage in some kind of ritual like this I'm sure that there are benefits. And also sometimes when we believe there are benefits, it even does us better. Mm-hmm. It's even, it has more influence on us. So we actually feel better.
Right. And they do say a lot of things about tea, which, you can take it or leave it, but tea is supposed to help also with weight loss, with boosting your immune system, and tea has a lot of antioxidants.
Mm-hmm. Well, they
are
say
good
green
for you.
tea is probably one of the best for that I've heard.
Exactly.
Don't you think so?
Right, that's what I've heard as well.
Because there's difference in green tea and other kind.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think black tea is more... process is not the word I want, but
there's antioxidants more in green tea,
right?
They
say.
So it is good for you. There's no doubt about it. And certainly it's better to drink tea than it is to drink kind of Coca-Cola type drinks because they have sugar in them.
Right.
And you don't have to put sugar in your tea. Just drink plain tea. And it's better for you than drinks. Any kind of juice even has a lot of sugar in it, right?
Yes. And juice is kind of controversial because some say that, if you turn a fruit into juice, basically you're consuming sugar. You should be eating it in its natural form more. So that's very controversial in itself. Where tea, if you live in Taipei City, you can get any kind of combination of tea drink that you want.
Bubble tea.
Right. But,
that has a lot of sugar.
Yeah, that has a lot of sugar. We're talking about plain tea now, right?
Right.
Okay.
But also they have a lot of juice, green tea combinations, things like that, too. So
they even have green tea ice cream.
It's actually quite good.
Yes, I love green tea ice cream.
So you can use it for a lot of different things. But it says that the actual benefits of that still remain uncertain. So let's find out more about this kind of research. Let's read the next section.
Inconclusive research. One study says tea loses its power when milk is added, while others say potential benefits come only directly from the leaves and not supplements or tea extract capsules. But Dr. Donald Hinshrud, a physician and nutrition specialist at the Mayo Clinic, emphasizes that the lack of randomized clinical trials makes it difficult to make conclusions about tea. He says moderation is the key. Tea drinking incurs very few risks unless you drink a large amount.
So we see that the research, we've already just mentioned this, and this is another way of saying it, that researchers caution that the actual benefits of drinking tea still remain uncertain. And so inconclusive means that there are no, you can't prove the results.
Right. There are no clear results or there's no clear conclusion.
Mm-hmm. Right? This word inconclusive is kind of an interesting word. It's sort of vague. I mean, this means you don't know for sure, right?
Right. That's exactly what it means.
There's too much inconclusive research nowadays. Isn't that true? They're not sure about this or that. What causes cancer? What causes this? And there's a lot of things that they think might be it,
right,
but it is not certain. So when it's not certain, we say it is inconclusive.
Right.
That's a good word to know, isn't it?
Right.
Inconclusive.
Mm-hmm. We hope not too many things are inconclusive in your lives.
That's right. That's true.
This research, because there's so many variables involved, that's why there's no clear-cut, conclusion.
Well, I've heard, you're not supposed to put sugar in things because we don't need that much sugar. But I didn't know that they said that it loses its power when milk is added. Now, I don't add milk to mine anyway, but in England, sometimes they'll put the milk in first and then the tea. They often have it with milk.
Indian tea as well, and Turkish tea.
But did you ever hear that it loses its power? I've never heard that.
I don't even really quite know what that means.
Well, it takes away the
benefits.
Yeah. I don't know why it would.
Maybe
should make it stronger. But anyway, I don't usually use milk in my tea. Do you?
It depends upon what kind I'm drinking. Once in a while, sometimes I do like milk and sugar in my black tea. It depends upon my
sugar.
mood.
Oh my goodness!
Not a lot.
Okay,
Some.
Watch the sugar, right? Okay, but there are other potential benefits. What is a potential benefit?
Something that's a possible benefit.
Okay, it
so
might benefit.
If you do drink it, that there is a possibility that you might reap some benefit from this.
From the leaves.
It says it only comes directly from the leaves and not supplements or tea extract capsules. So it kind of sounds like you have to chew on the leaves in order to get these benefits.
Well, you pour the hot water on the leaves and don't just get some kind of extract of tea and put it, like instant or something, right?
Right, and there are now a lot of tea supplements, and here we see tea extract capsules, and that just means that there's a substance. Extract of something means the substance of that tea leaf is in this capsule.
So don't think that having green tea ice cream is going to give you any benefits.
Oh, rats.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably more sugar and milk than tea.
But they do sell a lot of, I've seen a lot of tea extract capsules, for sale for health benefits.
Yeah. Right.
And so basically what they're saying is that's not really necessarily going to help.
The case with other extracts, it's always better to get the real thing. So drinking the tea from the actual leaves instead of getting an extract,
Well, that's true. Whenever they quote the Mayo Clinic, we know that they do a lot of good research there. And this nutrition specialist from the Mayo Clinic said something. What did he have to say?
Well, he emphasizes that the lack of randomized clinical trials makes it difficult to make conclusions about tea. So this is talking about research and how they do research. And we see this word randomized, which is one of our special terms, but it's very important when you're talking about research. If you are randomizing something, in research you need to have a random sample. So it says, if we look at the word, it's related to arranging something by chance, especially in order to control changeable situations in experimental research. So it means that you can't take 10 people and make sure they're all the same and then test them. You take random samples, so you want to do it across a broad range of different kinds of different people, different backgrounds, different everything, to make sure that your sample is broad enough to to draw conclusions.
Right, for accuracy.
Right.
But I was kind of surprised that they said that moderation is the key, because I didn't think that tea drinking would be bad, even if you drink a lot of it. It says tea drinking incurs very few risks unless you drink a large amount. I never heard of anybody saying you can drink too much tea. Have you?
Well, I think you can drink too much of anything.
Anything, right.
Even water.
Except for water?
Even water. If you drink too much water,
it drowns your
But I think you better go for water.
There have been cases, people who've drunk too much water in one sitting and they died from it. But those are very rare cases.
Yeah, most people don't drink enough water.
Nearly enough water, right.
So moderation is the key. It's really moderation in anything.
Exactly.
Like a lot of food, we say, don't eat this. Well, you can eat a little bit of a lot of things in moderation, but just be sure that you don't eat too much of something. Don't you think that's true with meat and vegetables and everything?
It's with everything, yeah.
Dessert, a little bit in moderation, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I think fruit and vegetables we don't encourage moderation.
No.
People are already too moderate.
That's true.
And we have this word here, incur something. It means to experience it.
Right.
Okay. So if you won't experience a lot of risk unless you drink like tons of tea.
Yeah, I don't think most of us are going to do that, do you?
No.
Well, we have another column here. Let's take the second column and read that now.
Some agreement. Robert Vimishner, a pastry chef and culinary educator in Los Angeles, doesn't think that a lack of proven benefits would take away from tea's popularity. I think it's being reinvented for a younger generation. So if reports came out saying it wasn't beneficial, it wouldn't affect that, says Vimishner, the author of Cooking with Tea. And for both Vimishner and George, the ultimate benefit comes with the simple relaxation of slowing down and preparing the perfect cup of tea. I find it has a very calming effect, and that is enough for me, George says. The health benefits are an added bonus, but it is the ritual I love. Like running a hot bath, I don't know whether it is good for you, but I feel great when I have had one.
So now we see that there actually is some agreement, and we have a pastry chef here, and pastry has to do with my favorite.
Baked goods,
Yes.
like cookies.
Green tea
tarts.
cookies. Come on.
Right, so a pastry chef has to do with desserts. It's like a dessert chef. And a culinary educator. Culinary.
That's connected to cooking or kitchens.
Right. So if you hear that word, if you hear, well, here's a culinary educator, sometimes we hear a culinary expert. So an expert on cooking and what you need in your kitchen. So we have Vimishner here, and he doesn't think that a lack of proven benefits would take away from tea's popularity. I don't think it will either.
No.
I think, it's a beverage.
No, it's something that people like to drink, and they've been drinking it for ages. They have Japanese tea ceremonies, Chinese people drink tea. I mean, it's part of the culture.
Right. It seems like in this day and age that we always have to look for some health benefit for something that we're doing to justify
Yeah,
it.
we need justification.
Right.
But people enjoy drinking tea. Yeah, it's been around for a long time. So I think it's a good plus if there are all these benefits, but that's not going to take away from its popularity.
It's interesting they use this word here, it's being reinvented. Of course, we don't invent tea. It's grown. It's not invented like something that we make. But the idea of using it has come back again.
Right.
For the younger generation. The tea is not
becoming
being
more
reinvented.
popular
Right.
again.
That's what it really means. So.
So maybe being repackaged, to sell to the younger
be more
generation.
appealing to different,
Like this picture here, these people smiling here and drinking their tea, and that's encouraging you to have a nice tea time.
especially with the plate of cookies
Exactly.
in front of them.
Right in front of
That's
them.
what it does. Right. The
Well, we
cooking
see
with
also
tea.
that he is also an author of this book called Cooking with Tea. So I thought that was kind of interesting. No wonder he has this
No wonder.
feeling.
That's right. Right.
I've never cooked with tea before. Have
No.
you?
I don't-
but I've
I don't really
eaten.
plan to.
I've eaten when I was in Myanmar. There are some dishes in northern Myanmar that have tea leaves cooked
do a
with
lot of
them.
tea
It's
over
quite
there.
good.
Yeah.
And it's a cooked dish with like nuts and some other things in it. It's,
But you don't usually think about it. no.
I've never cooked with tea.
But the best benefit, this is the ultimate benefit. The main benefit of that comes from the relaxation, not only what's in the tea, but just what it does for you.
I think when I read that sentence, it made me realize that's exactly what I was trying to say at the very beginning of the program. There's a different feeling about sitting down for a cup of tea than sitting down with a cup of coffee.
Because coffee will energize you. I need some energy. But tea, calm. Right?
Yeah, kind
Relax.
of. I mean, there's just something, and I think that's it. You want to slow down and relax a little bit. And we do that with coffee as well, but it still is a different feeling about it.
That's true.
Especially if you have your teapot and your teacup and your saucer, and you just sit down and You have it steep and then pour it. Yeah,
And
there's
a
something
little green
that's
tea
relaxing
cookie
about
to
it.
go with it.
Exactly.
Or chocolate chip.
Or almond.
But the health benefits, though, they're good, but they're an added bonus. But the person that wrote this said they like the ritual, just the idea of let's have tea. Let's have tea time.
Right.
There's something kind of calming and almost romantic about tea time. And they have high tea in some of the big department stores in London. And it's kind of a ritual.
Right. And actually, if you go to Hong Kong, one of my favorite things to do in Hong Kong is to go to the peninsula because they also have high tea in the afternoon. And it's just so, it's just so fun.
Yeah,
Right.
you have a
Well, it
certain
says it's
feeling.
like running a hot bath. Now, some people say, how is that like it? But there's something, the idea about when you're kind of tired to get in a tub and relax, or a sauna or whatever it is. So the same idea. It's a relaxing thing, isn't it?
I don't know. I never take a bath.
Well, I don't either, but the thought of it is very
You can
soothing.
even have a cup of tea in the bathtub. There's nothing wrong with it. But
You'll
you
be
feel
so
great when you
relaxed,
feel-
you'll
Yes.
never get out.
But tea is a very good, healthy drink, and I think it's better not to put sugar and milk in it if you can.
Right,
but
if you can
enjoy
help it.
your tea and have a good time. And, of course, you might have your studio classroom and advanced magazine with you on the table.
And relax
And
while you're
relax while
studying.
you're doing
Yes.
your tea.
And you can even
cup
have
of
a tea
while
party.
you're listening. Right? Okay, well, I hope you're all calm today because tomorrow we're going to have a serious warning. So get ready for that. Maybe you should have some tea ready in case you need it.
I was just going to say that.
So we'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.